the regulation of the citric acid cycle, so hindi lagi naman gagawin ng katawan ay mag-produce ng ATP. Now, there will be some regulations. So, may mga restrictions. Now, when the ATP supply is high, it will inhibit the citrate synthase para hindi mag-proceed ang Krebs cycle. Now, Krebs cycle, the citrate synthase will be the first enzyme that will be used for Krebs cycle. It will be used for the condensation of oxaloacetate and acetyl-CoA. Ngayon, kung may inhibit ang citrate synthase, hindi magtutuloy ang Krebs cycle. So, mangyayari lang iyon kapag mataas ang ATP. The citrate synthase will be activated if the levels of ATP are low. So, ang activator doon ay si ADP. Now, ADP activates citrate synthase. It will also activate isocitrate dehydrogenase, which will convert isocitrate to alpha-ketoglutarate. So, si NADH, siya ay responsible lang kay isocitrate dehydrogenase, which will act as an enzyme inhibitor. Now, we have the electron transport chain. Pag electron transport chain, of course, you want to facilitate transfer. Now, in Krebs cycle, nakaka-produce tayo ng reduced fat and reduced NAD. Ngayon, itong mga ito ay may mga electrons na present sa kanila. Na-reduce sila kasi nag-gain sila ng electron. So, pag nag-gain ng electron, na-reduce, they are oxidizing agent. So, gusto mo ngayon na yung mga electron na present kay FAD at NAD ay matransfer papunta kay oxygen. So, bago siya matransfer papunta kay oxygen, meron muna siyang pagdadaanan na 4 na complexes. Complex 1, 2, 3, and 4. So, ang gusto lang mangyari ni electron transport chain ay yung electron na present kay FAD and NAD ay matransfer papunta kay oxygen. And upon the passing through of electron in your electron transport chain, nagkakaroon ka ng production ng energy. There is a release of energy. Now, tandaan, the ultimate receiver of the electron is molecular oxygen. So, si molecular oxygen, yung pinakahuli na makakatanggap ng electron. Now, itong electron na ito, ay yung oxygen na ito, saan ba ito nanggagaling? We get it from the oxygen we inhale via respiration. That's why electron transport chain is also known as respiratory chain. Sabi ko kanina, the electron transport chain will release energy na gagamitin para sa oxidative phosphorylation. Now, pag-usapan ulit natin ng electron transport chain. In mitochondria, meron kang outer membrane, meron ka ding inner membrane because the mitochondria is a double membrane, may outer, may inner. Now, between the outer and the inner, meron kang tinatawag na intermembrane space. The 4 complexes responsible for the electron transport chain are embedded along the inner mitochondrial membrane. So, yung 4 na yon ay nakaka-penetrate, naka-embed doon kay inner mitochondrial membranes. Now, they are organized into 4 distinct protein complexes. Bukod doon, meron kang 2 mobile variants. So, these complexes are tightly bound. Complex 1 is known as your NADH coenzyme Q reductase. Complex 2 is succinate coenzyme Q reductase. Complex 3 is coenzyme Q cytochrome C reductase. While complex 4 is cytochrome C oxidase. Now, let's have first the complex 1. In Krebs cycle, 3 NADH ang na-produce natin. Now, the one that is responsible para ma-transfer yung electron from NADH mapunta kay coenzyme Q ay si complex 1. So you start with NADH. This one is the biggest complex. It contains more than 40 subunits of flavine mononucleotide with iron sulfur protein cluster. Now, the goal of complex 1 is to facilitate transfer of electron from NADH papunta kay coenzyme Q. Now, complex 1 is composed of this one, flavine mononucleotide. If it gains an electron, this will be reduced. We also have the iron sulfur protein cluster. So ngayon, dahil nga na-produce mo ang NADH, meron siyang electron, this will undergo series of oxidation reduction. So para ma-transfer yung electron. The final receiver for complex 1 is the coenzyme Q. Kaya nga po dito, coenzyme Q, ayan, yung dulo niya ay coenzyme Q kasi ito yung kanyang receiver, final receiver. For complex 2 as well, the final receiver is coenzyme Q. Now, ano bang function ni coenzyme Q? Coenzyme Q will serve as an electron carrier. Siya isang electron carrier. If the coenzyme Q gains an electron, that will be a reduced coenzyme Q. So, itong coenzyme mo na to, itong reduced coenzyme mo, will transfer electron, will carry electron going to complex 3. So, ang goal niya ay ma-transfer from NADH papunta kay coenzyme Q at dadalhin niya papunta kay complex 3. So, kada isang complex, meron siyang pinipili kung ano lang yung kaya niya na i-process. For complex 2, si complex 2 will be the one responsible to transfer the electron present in reduced fat para ma-transfer to coenzyme Q. Now, bakit siya tinawag na succinate? If you still remember Krebs cycle, in order to convert succinate to fumarate, you need the enzyme succinate synthase. And this process is oxidation, therefore it requires an oxidizing agent. Ang oxidizing agent natin doon ay si fat. Kaya siya tinawag na succinate. This is the smallest complex. Among the 4 complexes, ang pinakamaliit doon ay si complex 2. It contains 4 subunit and 2 iron sulfur protein cluster. So, ang tatandaan kay complex 2, yung electron na present kay FAD, reduced FAD, ay magkakaroon ng series of redox reaction until the electron will be received by coenzyme Q. So, coenzyme Q is the final recipient for complex 1 and complex 2. Ngayon, ayan, this is your reduced FAD, series of oxidation reduction hanggang ma-receive ni coenzyme Q. Siya ay magiging reduced coenzyme Q. The electron present in coenzyme Q will be transported and carried papunta kay complex 3. Ngayon, anong trabaho ni complex 3? Si complex 3 yung mag-receive ng electron coming from complex 1 and complex 2. From both of these complexes, electrons are carried by the coenzyme Q papunta kay complex 3. So, tandaan, si complex 1 responsible siya kay NAD, reduced NAD. Si complex 2 responsible siya for reduced fat. Now, balikan natin si complex 3. Si complex 3 ay coenzyme Q cytochrome C reductase. So, ibig sabihin, saan manggagaling yung electron niya? Manggagaling kay coenzyme Q. Ipapasa niya ngayon to papunta kay cytochrome C. Now, just like with other complexes, it contains iron sulfur proteins and cytochromes. The cytochrome is a compound that contains iron in its structure. At the center of it, may iron kang makikita. Just like this one. Now, the one that will undergo oxidation and reduction is iron. Pag si iron ay na-oxidize, ang tawag natin sa kanya, ferric. When iron is reduced, ang tawag natin sa kanya, ferrous sulfate. tulad nun. Now, this cytochrome will undergo several oxidation reduction until matransfer niya yung electron papunta kay cytochrome C. So, ang manggagaling yung kanyang electron kay coenzyme Q, kailangan mapasa kay cytochrome C. Now, there will be series of oxidation reduction. So, madami ditong oxidation. This will be transported from iron sulfur protein complex to cytochrome B to iron sulfur protein complex to cytochrome C1 until mapunta siya kay cytochrome C. Ngayon, si cytochrome C, ano yung trabaho niya? Cytochrome C will act as an electron carrier. So, dalawa yung electron carrier natin in electron transport chain. Coenzyme Q and cytochrome C. Ito ang iyong mga carrier. Si coenzyme Q ay carrier natin ng complex 1 and 2, papunta kay 3. Cytochrome C ay carrier ng complex 3, papunta kay complex 4. Now, complex 4 has 13 subunits and 2 cytochromes. You have your A and A3. So, the transfer will be from cytochrome C na galing kay complex 3 to transfer niya yung electron niya to cytochrome A to cytochrome A3 until it will be transferred to oxygen. So, ang pinakadulo, ultimate and final recipient of electron is oxygen or O2. 95% of the oxygen used by the cell serves as the final electron acceptor for ETC. So, ang complex C ay cytochrome oxidase. The cytochrome will carry electron punta kay cytochrome iron sulfur complex until it reaches oxygen. Now, bakit namamatay yung tao? Pag walang oxygen, the biochemical systems of the human body quickly shut down and death occurs. So, pag walang oxygen, hindi magtutuloy ang electron transport chain, walang oxidative phosphorylation, walang magtutuloy, wala kang energy na gagamitin for the different cellular processes, death will. Kasi nga, walang energy. Now, as a summary for ATC, complex 1, ang kaya niyang i-process ay ang NAD. So, the passage of electron is from NAD papunta kay coenzyme Q. Kapag complex 2, ang kaya niyang i-process ay FAD going to coenzyme Q. Complex 3, manggagaling yung kanyang electron kay coenzyme Q hanggang mapasa niya kay cytochrome C. Now, complex 4, manggagaling ang kanyang electron kay cytochrome C until mapunta siya kay oxygen. Now, habang nagkakaroon ka ng passing through of electron, yung pag-transfer ng electron mo from one complex to another complex, there will also be a proton pump. So, papunta kay intermembrane space, nagkakaroon ka ng transfer of proton pump. Pinump mo other side of the membrane. Ang kaya lang dyan mag-proton pump ay si complex 1, complex 3, at complex 4. Bakit? Kasi they can penetrate. They penetrate to the inner mitochondrial membrane. Unlike kay complex 2, hindi siya abot. So, kahit na i-push mo yung electron, wala siyang dadaanan, hindi kasi siya tumatagos kay inner mitochondrial membrane. Now, when there is a pump, nagkaroon ka ng proton pump, tataas ngayon yung bilang mo dito ng hydrogen or ng proton. So, magkakaroon ka ngayon ng release of energy. The energy that is formed during electron transport chain will be used in order for the ADP to be phosphorylated so that it will be converted to ATP. Ang tawag natin sa process in which the ATP is synthesized from the phosphorylation of ATP is oxidative phosphorylation. Together with ATC, ang tawag natin sa kanila ay coupled reaction. Ngayon, pag sinabi natin coupled, yung energy na na-release ng isang reaction ay gagamitin para sa isa pang reaction. Ang tawag natin doon, coupled reaction. Bakit? Kasi nga si ETC ay nagre-release ng energy, and yung energy na iyon ay gagamitin ni oxidative phosphorylation para mag-produce ka ng ATP. Now, for every 2 electron that passes to ETC, 4 na proton ang pupunta kay intermembrane space. Magka-pass through kay inner mitochondrial membrane. Kay complex 3, 4. Kay complex 2, 2. Complex 4, 2. Now, ano yung papansinin natin dito? 2 electron galing kay complex or kay NAD, matatransfer, papunta kay complex 3. May 4 ka na proton na lalabas, palabas ng matrix, papunta ng intermembrane space. So, nagkakaroon ka ng pump, proton pump. Transferring of proton from the matrix side of the inner mitochondria papunta kay intermembrane. Si complex 2 hindi niya kaya kasi hindi siya tumatagos. Complex 3, 4 pupunta dito. And then kay complex 4, 2. Now, anong mangyayari kapag nagkaroon ng proton pump? Pag sinabi natin proton pump, from one side papunta sa isa pang side. Now, what will happen if there is a proton pump? Or dumami yung proton kay intermembrane space. Tataas ngayon yung bilang at concentration ng proton dito kay intermembrane space. Nagkakaroon ng proton buildup. And that leads to electrochemical gradient. Ngayon, pag sinabi natin electrochemical gradient, this happen when there is a great difference of energy doon sa both magkaibang side ng membrane. Now, what will happen? The proton present here, ito yung proton na present dito kay intermembrane space, yung magpo-push, magbibigay ng energy kay ATP synthase. ATP synthase is the enzyme responsible to produce ATP. So, ATP synthase consists of F1 subunit and F0 subunit. So, it will push, it will siya yung magbibigay ng energy so papasok siya dyan, so that the adenosine diphosphate will be phosphorylated. So, para mag-undergo siya ng phosphorylation, giving you now ATP. The ATP is formed in the F1 subunit. Dito yung specific portion kung saan siya na-produce. Now, syempre dahil kailangan natin yung ATP sa iba't ibang cellular processes at bago siya magamit ng mitochondria sa mga ibang cellular processes, kailangan mong ibalik si ATP papunta kay intermembrane space. Ngayon, kada ATP na lalabas papunta kay intermembrane space, kapalit nun ay si ADP. So that is how the proteins that is how ATP is produced. Ang tawag natin sa pathway na yon, oxidative phosphorylation. Now, sabi dyan, the formation of ATP accompanies the flow of electrons from the intermembrane space papunta kay mitochondrial matrix. Now, kada isang NADH na mapoproduce at ma-oxidize, in the ATC, 2.4 moles of ATP are formed. Kada isang mole ng FAD, 1.5 mole of ATP. Kada 1 mole of GTP, 1 mole of ATP. So, all in all, sa isang acetyl-CoA, ang na-produce mo, 3 NAD. So, dahil 3 yung NAD times 2.5, 7.5. FAD, isa, times 1.5, 1.5. GTP is equal to 1 ATP. So, all in all, in 1 acetyl-CoA that undergoes oxidation, that undergoes Krebs cycle in the electron transport chain and oxidative phosphorylation, it will produce 10 na ATP. Then, na ATP ang sa isang acetyl coenzyme A. Ngayon, bakit ba mahalaga ang ATP? Kailangan natin si ATP in order to synthesize B complexes. Now, let's say cellular tracking, nutrient transport, synthesis of essential compounds. You need energy. This is energy requiring. Metabolism is energy providing. Now, sabi natin kanina, nanggaling yung oxygen via respiration and this is consumed during oxidative phosphorylation. Pero, habang nag-undergo ng oxidation, ang tatandaan, normal na nag-form ang ROS. ROS is a highly reactive oxygen species. Ano yung mga example nito? Hydrogen peroxide, superoxide ion, hydroxyl radical. So these are unpaired electron and are extremely reactive. So ano yung kailangan mo gawin sa ROS? Kailangan mo silang ma-stabilize. Kailangan mo silang ma-detoxify. Bakit? Kasi kapag di sila na-stabilize, pwedeng mag-lead ito to certain diseases. Ngayon, hindi naman porket sinabing ROS, delikado. May mga beneficial effect din naman ang ROS. So, bukod sa normal siyang nagaganap sa body, pwede ka din mag-produce ng ROS because of external influences like polluted air, cigarette smoking, and radiation exposure. What else? Yung mga pagkain kinakain, yung mga gamot na iniinom. So, they can also produce ROS. Now, meron din siyang beneficial effect, less like with your white blood cell. It produces a significant amount of superoxide free radical in order to destroy bacteria and viruses. Now, 95% of ROS are completely converted into non-toxic. So, sino yung magko-convert sa kanya? Superoxide dismutase and catalase. Siyempre, kailangan mo silang stabilize kasi pag di mo sila in-stabilize, masisira. So, mas delikado sa katawan. So, ito yung mga ROS natin. Ang mag-stabilize sa kanila sa katawan ay superoxide, dismutase, and catalase. Kaya lang, ang problem natin, 95% lang yung kanyang nako-convert. Bakit? Kasi may around about 5% escapes from destruction. So, anong gagawin ng katawan kapag nakascape yung ROS mo? Ang gagawin ng katawan, may backup mechanism naman yon. So, it will be stabilized by the different antioxidants. Vitamin K, vitamin C, glutathione, and beta-carotene. So, itong mga gamot na ito, yung mga iba dyan ay endogenous sa katawan. Just like yung glutathione, they will stabilize or they will detoxify yung mga free radicals. Kung hindi kakayanin ng katawan, dahil hindi naman mahilig ng mga food rich in antioxidant, pwede ka namang mag-take ng mga plant products that are good antioxidant. So, kain kayo ng mga pagkain mayaman sa antioxidant in order to prevent yung accumulation ng ROS. So, pwede din kumain ng mga phytonutrients. Now, this ends our discussion today.